Welcome to Sharp or Square, part of the Volume Podcast Network. This is the betting show that makes the squares sharper and makes the wise guys pay attention. I am Chad Millman, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, my BFF, my companion, my compadre, professional bettor, Simon Hunter. Hello, Simon.
Chad, how we doing?
Dude, massive news today. Are you ready? I have mentioned on this show many times in the past 18 months that I've been working on a new book about the world of sports betting for Penguin Press. Today, on this show, with our beloved community, we are officially announcing that the number Chasing the Biggest Edge in Sports will be out on January 12th, 2027. Matt Mitchell is throwing up a look at the cover for those who are watching it on YouTube right now. You can go to Read the Number to check out more. You can pre-order the book at readthenumber.com. I'm going to tell you about all the cool stuff you get if you pre-order. I wanted to announce it on the show because our audience has been with us for a very long time and kind of inspired a lot of the ideas for the book. It goes inside the high-stakes world of sports books, prediction markets. Everybody who is chasing this ultimate edge of sports betting has become more and more relevant in all of our lives. It reveals how gambling is changing not just sports, but the way we think about risk, probability, the future. I would say, Simon, over the course of about 18 months, I did more than 30 trips reporting this book. I was in Costa Rica, spending time with a guy who I tracked over the course of a baseball season. He's one of the biggest baseball bettors in the world. I know when I was talking to Simon once, I told him how much this guy was betting on his own, of his own money, and he was pretty blown away. I went to the sticks of Pennsylvania. I spent time with the guys who uncovered the Jonte Porter gambling scandal and sort of tracked how they do their jobs. I was with a guy who, over the past year, has become one of the highest volume traders of sports. On Kalshi, he's done $500 million in volume on Kalshi trading on sports. He's always atop the leaderboards for Kalshi trading. And then I spent a lot of time with a guy who has been, over the past decade, one of the biggest NFL prop bettors in the country. And we talked a lot about how he's achieved what he's achieved. Listen, I loved reporting this book. I loved getting even deeper into the sports betting world that I didn't think I could get even deeper into. I would love it if you all pre-ordered this book between now and when it comes out in January 2027. The hottest part of doing a book isn't writing the book. It's letting people know the book exists and then getting momentum. Like, the pre-orders mean so much. So I appreciate anyone who can dive in. Go to readthenumber.com, pre-order it. If you do, a lot of bonuses. Number one, a special extra chapter, a bonus chapter that won't be in the book. Simon has read it. Matt Mitchell has read it. It is about a day that I spent with Simon where we talked about the glory of what he does, the sacrifices of what he does. It was a blast of a day, roaming around Philly and going to a Phillies game. So there's a lot of stuff to unpack there about how Simon and I first got together as well. So you'll get that, which you're not going to get unless you pre-order the book. And all season long, you're going to get an invite to a pre-order only Discord. We'll talk betting, we'll talk picks, all that good stuff. Every week during the NFL season, the Discord is going to choose a bet that we're going to make on the show. It's going to be voted for in the Discord. I'm going to use comments from people in the Discord. They're going to become a real part of the show over the course of the season. And then I'll make the bets with my own money. Whatever we win, we're donating to charity. And before everyone says, well, what if you lose? I'm donating $5,000 to charity regardless, in honor of this Discord. Every book that I get, every dollar, every pre-order over 5,000 is just another dollar into the kitty, plus whatever we win over the course of the year. It's all going to charity. So go pre-order. Let's hit that 5,000 number. I hope everyone will check it out. Join the Discord conversation. That conversation will carry into the show. Get the details on the Discord. Receive the bonus chapter. Go to readthenumber.com. Thank you very much for your indulgence. Simon, thanks for listening, buddy.
No, I'm excited, Chad. I didn't even remember you actually interviewing me for the book. That's how good you are at your job. I just remember we went to a game, we hung out for a day. I think you had a notepad, or I don't know if you're on your phone, whatever it was. You're so good at your job. I never thought this was an interview until after the fact. We were like, thanks again for doing that for me. I'm like, what did I just do? Didn't we just hang out and go to a Phillies game? So
what
you are very good at your job, Chad.
do? Well, thank you very much. And thanks for doing it with me. I appreciate it. Simon's the only person who I interviewed who I actually let read the chapter about him, just because we're good buddies and I want to make sure he saw it. But I hope everyone checks it out. You can pre-order the book at readthenumber.com. Let's get down to some business, buddy, because it's part 4 of our annual 8-part division by division NFL betting previews. Moving on to the AFC West. I think it's the most intriguing division in football because, like, as you've said, are people sleeping on the Chiefs? Is Mike McDaniel going to change Justin Herbert and that Chargers offense? Like, Fernando Mendoza mania, when will it take effect in Las Vegas? And then, of course, the Broncos, a game away from the Super Bowl. Maybe they would have made it if Bo Nix hadn't been injured. So there is a lot to unpack. Let's set the stage here a little bit. Chiefs, 10.5 season win totals, minus 150 to the under. Chargers, 9.5, minus 145 to the over. Broncos, 9.5, minus 120 to the over. Raiders, 5.5, minus 145 to the over. A lot of steam on the Raiders. Simon, let's start with the Chiefs. I'm not even going to ask you a question at this point. I think you and I are aligned, but we've been talking about the Chiefs so much during the offseason and Patrick Mahomes. Clearly, it's trending towards him expecting to be able to play in week 1. Have you started to see movement that represents expectations that he's going to be playing and healthy for this team?
Yeah, it felt like, what was it, 3 months ago when the week 1 lines came out, that's when people not started checking in on Mahomes, but it felt like up to that point, it was all just Chargers talk, right? The Chargers were the favorite for this division. They had the highest win total. I mean, I could go on a whole another rant about, I don't know if you saw our guy, Bill Barnwell, had an article that blew up.
I texted with Barnwell about it this morning, and I used it as a reference in the YouTube comments that I was responding to from some people yesterday and today. I thought it was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Oh my God. Do you not agree? Do you want to explain the story, or do you want me to do it?
You could explain it because you talked to the man.
All right. So Barnwell did a column that came out yesterday, and I loved it. I thought it was like the epitome of how sports should be covered. Barnwell looked at the teams with the biggest Super Bowl preseason odds to win, meaning the delta between them and the team behind them was bigger than anyone else. He did the 15 biggest from the past 25 years. Only 2 of those 15 teams went on to win the Super Bowl. A bunch of them didn't even make the playoffs. And if you look at the I think it was 7 or 8 before you got to a team that actually won the Super Bowl in terms of how short, I guess, or how much their expectation was that they were going to win. They were a super team. Everyone believed it. The first 7 or 8 teams didn't win the Super Bowl. It was all around the context of the Rams being the super team, which we've been talking about all offseason. Like, there's just no value there, and chances are better that they won't win than they will win. And then people get mad at us because they point out that they have this great team. But shit happens. Injuries happen. Mistakes happen. Teams crater. Like, anyways, I thought it was great.
So even before that, he had a little offhand comment to someone online of an article he had written. And basically he'd said that Josh Allen to him was going to be the quarterback of the all-decade team. So this past decade, so from 2021 obviously till 2029, he said right now you can make an argument for Mahomes or Lamar, but he would have Josh Allen as his all-decade quarterback. So someone like me, who I try not to lose my mind on the show, but I have to defend Mahomes. I have to defend Mahomes on the show. I hate it, but I have to be the reason of insanity. And I feel like I was on an island, right? I had a fantasy football guy and Rich on the show talking Josh Allen number one. I had Josh Allen everywhere being number one. Even Chad said he was number one. I was losing my mind a little bit, but thank God the masses came down on Bill Barnwell. And they were just like, in what world is Mahomes, who's gone to 3 Super Bowls, won 2, not on the all-decade quarterback over Josh Allen? So it was just good where I feel like fantasy football has kind of ruined society. Again, we all agree it matters what you do between September and December. But Joe Montana, Tom Brady, no one talks about these guys' regular seasons. It's Super Bowls. It's January and February that matter. So I think people have left Mahomes for dead. It's starting to come back a little bit, Chad. It feels like the public's starting to come back to the Chiefs team now. And they are, like you said, the highest win total in this division. Mahomes has been in practice. He's looking good, which is, I mean, the Daniel Jones, Mahomes, all these quarterbacks are coming off major injuries, which even 10 years ago would have taken a year to get right.
Yeah.
They're in practice early, working out. Who knows if it's the stem cell stuff? I have no idea what's happening with modern medicine, but it's incredible. Mahomes, yeah, there's little moments where you're like, okay, he's got a giant knee brace on, but he's out there doing what Mahomes does, which is off angle, tough throws, just incredible pocket presence. And you look at this Chiefs team, this might be the best offensive line he's had in the last 5 years. I mean, that's crazy to think what he's done, but it's always been where they've gone cheap. They've gone cheap at the offensive line. This year, they're not doing it. The D-line is incredible. Where they've gone cheap is obviously their defense. So I think we're in unison with at this point with this Chiefs team. It's like, okay, do you believe in Mahomes? Do you believe in him being healthy with Andy Reid? You have them in a weaker, the fact that they're a division, they were in third place. It's an easier schedule. How do you not throw a bet on this Chiefs team? It's just a minus 10.5, minus 150 to the over. Okay, I'm getting a positive number then. I'm getting a plus number taking the over. I'm going to bet Mahomes gets 11 wins. So, the books, yes, we could be walking right into it. I have them projected 11.5 wins. So I have them a full game over this win total. People are gonna figure out pretty quick. There's 2 teams I really like in this division. The Chiefs are one of them. It's just you're betting on Mahomes, you're betting on Kenneth Walker, this run game really changing things. And again, me and Chad are the biggest fantasy guys. Cyrus Allen, he's going to be a name the general public is going to learn. This is a wide receiver that just looks the part right now for this team. So Worthy is missing time. Rice might be missing time for injury. They might have found a stud in this past draft, and that's what Mahomes is going to do, right? He's going to find a guy. If this guy can stay healthy, he's going to become Mahomes' guy. He just cannot keep going through Travis Kelce, who's 36 years old now. So I just look at this team as people are kind of like, this might be an in-between year. I feel like last year was that. I feel like last year was the year from hell. The year before, they were 15-1 in one-score games. Last year, they were 1-10, Chad, in one-score games.
And Mahomes got injured. So,
yeah, like I think we're in unison here where it's like, it's the Mahomes factor. He's not calculable to most people's models. It's going to skew things where, if he gets 12 or 13 wins, no, I would not be shocked. But it's like my model can't predict those one-score type of games. What we're looking at is just a law of averages here. So to me, this just feels like a team that, at worst case, Mahomes goes 8-5 in one-score games. We just don't see him having an insanely horrible losing record. Last year was a year from hell. Me and Chad, I feel like we're in the same unison as we usually fade those type of seasons the next year. If you have a good quarterback with a good scheme, a good head coach, and a good organization, you always bet on the bounce back. So, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to go heavy on their division odds like I have in the previous years, Chad, but definitely taking that over right now at a plus number.
Plus 170 to win the division, plus 650 to win the conference, 13-1 to win the Super Bowl. It's been years since the Chiefs were longer than 10-1 to win the Super Bowl, and they weren't one of the top 2 or 3 teams in terms of the shortest odds. You started the conversation asking about Barnwell's story, which I absolutely loved, but you didn't you commented on one of his tweets. You didn't comment on the story. Did you have
It's in the
thoughts
story.
on?
No, it's in the story. When he's
Okay.
breaking down the Bills, he has little.
Ah,
That's what people cut out, Chad. It was a big, big deal where it's like, again, it was just an offhand comment by him where he's just breaking down why he likes the Bills and how great Josh Allen is, and then he just throws in there. And Josh Allen is probably going to be on my all-decade team as the number one quarterback. You can make the argument for Mahomes or Lamar. I think everyone to me took a one deep breath and were like, whoa, 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 whoa. There is no
I think
argument here.
I got to reread the beginning of that story because we might be talking about two different stories because I don't remember that from the story yesterday. Whatever it is, just go read Bill Barnwell because he's brilliant and does things that are controversial and challenge your thoughts on football. And that's the whole point. And if it riles people up, all the better. More importantly, he made a very clear point. There's no value on betting the Los Angeles Rams, and there is no value on betting super teams. So anyone who's saying you have to do this or has been listening to the show about the NFC West and saying you guys are crazy, there is evidence. There is math to back it up.
Well, he did
Simon.
say there is value, Chad. He said there is value in betting them to miss, like what we did, to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, to miss the playoffs.
There is value, but it's not the value these people are thinking of. So
I know.
it's
exactly right.
Smarter people than us backing us up. I'll definitely agree with you on that.
LA Chargers. They were the team everyone is psyched about before Mahomes came back and started looking like he would be able to play in week one. Second consecutive year, they lose the season. They lose in the wild card round. They looked terrible against the Patriots. Justin Herbert, again, flailing in the playoffs. Plus 185 to win the division, 8-1 to win the conference, 17-ish to 1 to win the Super Bowl. It's Justin Herbert's 7th season in the NFL. You could argue that the thing they did most to improve his chances wasn't on the field. It was bringing in Mike McDaniel. And we have seen so much about the way he's adjusted his footwork, and we've heard so much about how they are adjusting the offense for him to get the ball out quicker. At the end of the day, do we believe these things can actually come to fruition, or does Justin Herbert become the guy who's 6'6", built like an Adonis, and has his fiance playing with his hair on the field, and he's just going to believe that because of who he is, old habits will come back, and he will hold the ball too long, try to make plays, and this team fails in the playoffs?
Yeah, it's a really fun team, a fun team to debate, and I think it's very telling. The books have moved them down to 9.5 at the win total because they were 10.5, and they have adjusted. Even though I would say the Chargers are a media darling, right? I think a lot of people right now are drinking the Kool-Aid. The Herbert hype is hitting a crucial point here where people are talking him for MVP. And it is back to what you just talked about. The upgrade they have at OC, they might have gone from one of the worst run blocking schemes to now one of the best in all the NFL, right? And he could be a great coach too because he's going to challenge Justin Herbert where, not that Justin Herbert doesn't get challenged. I think Harbaugh challenges him in some ways, but he needed someone to work on his footwork. He did need someone to be in his ear being like, hey, man, you do throw a beautiful pass downfield, but that check down that you don't take on 3rd and 6, and you're just bombing it downfield, and now we're punting. He needs to correct those mistakes, Herbert. No one doubts his arm skill. It's him always trying to do too much. He's always in that survival mode, which is something that's happened to him just throughout his career. It's what he's had to do to make this team work. So if they're in another division, I really would like this Chargers team. My biggest issue is they feel like a fantasy team. If you're doing best ball, whatever type of teams, I love building out the Chargers, right? Get the running backs, get the wide receivers, get the tight ends. I mean, they have 3 good tight ends. Like Njoku left Cleveland. He went there to be a tight end. Like they have a really deep wide receiver room, really deep running back room, really deep receivers. Our question is just going to be that offensive line and what that defense is going to be like without Mentor. And, I've made it no secret. I think Mentor is one of the best coaches. The fact that the Ravens got him, it's made me really high on this Ravens team.
Yeah.
It's also made me lower on this Chargers team because I think it's going to be a big deal. I think his defense is going to be very affected. I believe people put too much stock into Harbaugh. I do think Harbaugh is a great coach. He always gets 10 wins out of his teams. He's one of those guys that does that. But it's going to be interesting what he's like losing, what he's lost on defense, and what he's gained on offense here. So I think they're going to be a really fun fantasy team. Just, betting wise, long term, I feel like it's the year before. I think I'll be much higher next year on the Chargers team than I am going to be on this year. I'm more confident if they had a year two in this offense and this defense was able to improve without a mentor, because there's just like their D line is Khalil Mack really scaring you. Like they just don't have guys in their D line that really scare you. And a division that we haven't even talked about Bo Nix yet, but there's really good quarterbacks in the division. You need guys up front to get pressure on these guys, or they're going to beat you. I mean, the Chiefs, to me, just an even team as this Chargers team. That I think Broncos on paper are a much better team. So I hate to be the guy to say it, but do we think this is going to be a team better than the wild card? I just don't. I just can't. I can't put money in this team to win this division when there's another team in this division that's better value to me in the Broncos. So sitting here right now, if you want to bet their over win total at 9.5, I don't have a problem with it. I lean to them being 9-8. I go towards the under, so for me, it's no bet there. But this feels like another year of media hype for Justin Herbert heading into this season. It's just another 9-8, 10-7 type of season where I'm not going to be too hard on them, but it's just the division's brutal, and it's just really hard to see them becoming the 1 or 2 seed, which is what they need to do to win this division.
The Chargers are a fascinating team. I think last year we were talking about the Chargers and Harbaugh, and Barnwell might have said, it feels like the Chargers, if you're betting the Chargers last year in 2025, you're betting on them, excuse me, a year early. Now you're saying it's a year early, partly because of the new offense and Justin Herbert getting comfortable. And your point about them being a fantasy team is fascinating, because that's been their rep for 45 years. Go back to when they were in San Diego, and it was Dan Fouts and Kellen Winslow and James Lofton. And then when it's Phillip Rivers and LaDainian Tomlinson and Antonio Gates, and now they got another all-world quarterback who's going to put up the type of numbers that have him contend for the Hall of Fame, and he's going to do it with some fabulous weapons when he had Keenan Allen and some developing weapons. But is he going to win anything? And I think that's why you're starting to see some of these numbers come down. And all of this is about psychology and perception and what the market is doing. And I think the more people are seeing Patrick Mahomes, the less people are inclined to buy into Justin Herbert. I think that's what the market is telling us right now. And I agree, by the way. Like, sometimes you find clarity in your thoughts and your opinions, and I think we're both finding clarity on the Chargers right now.
Yeah, I just couldn't believe people were actually betting them. Like, you're really betting them at 17-1 to win the Super Bowl. That feels like horrible, horrible odds to be taking this Chargers team. Like, I'm pretty sure the Eagles were 20-1 just a couple of weeks ago. Wouldn't you much rather bet a team who's been there before in an easier division than a team that's never won a playoff game in a really hard division at 17-1? So that's what I mean, where it's like public perception just made them unbettable. It's like they're slowly becoming the Cowboys, the media darling the Cowboys were, right? The Cowboys never had value because they've just been bet up so much. The same year for the Chargers. If they were just a normal team in this division, 25-1, 30-1 makes a ton of more sense. 17-1 makes 0 sense. They were at 14-1. So once again, they've been dropping because other money's been going other places for bettors, and I still don't think there's value there. So, like I said, I don't want to bet that at this point. And we'll see about this Chargers team. I'm excited for them because they're such a fun team, but it's like I think we all, rightly so, have our doubts about them for many reasons, and it all goes back to, can they support Herbert? Can they keep those offensive linemen healthy? Because we saw last year he did so much with so little. They have the weapons, they have the offensive line. If everyone's taking stay healthy, it really is going to fall back to that defense, in my opinion.
So let's play a fun game for a second, because we're going to talk about the Broncos. Obviously, the Broncos had the number 1 seed. They had a 14-3 season. They beat Buffalo in that dramatic game in overtime in the divisional round. And then they lost in a really ugly game to the Patriots in the AFC title game, where Bo Nix didn't play. And you could argue if he's playing, that is an entirely different game. Going both ways, right? The Patriots would have had to adjust. So it wouldn't be a 10-7 slugfest. They're plus 210 to win the division. 10-1 to win the conference, 20-1 to win the Super Bowl, and that's outside the top 10. Simon, what the actual fuck? Like, this team that was number one seed in the conference last year is now considered to be the third best team by the odds in the division. I can accept regression. I can accept there were some miracle comebacks. I can accept that there will be an ability to adjust to what Bo Nix is good at. But come on. You got like one of the best coaches in the league, a team that you could argue overachieved and might actually be, that might have been a year early. Everything for them is third best in the AFC West. Are you kidding me? That is insane. Insane. Comment, and then I got a question for you.
Yeah, and we were both stunned, right? When we first talked opening lines, we couldn't believe when they came out. I think their original win total was 9. So the books opened them at 9, and we were both in shock of like, what are we missing here? Are we stepping into something? And, the more guys I talk to, other professionals are just like, well, look at their one-score record, right? We just talked about Mahomes. What was he, 1-10 in one-score games? This team did something that never been done in NFL history. They were 14-1 in games they were trailing in the fourth quarter. So last year, they had this incredible stretch with Bo Nix kept winning games in the fourth quarter. And we remember those games. A couple of those games we were betting against them where we would take the ugly dog and all of a sudden Bo Nix would just have these incredible fourth quarters and have these comebacks. And he wouldn't always cover, but they were finding ways to win. It was truly incredible. And it's just, you look at this Denver team and, top 5 offensive line, top 5 defense. And then they bring in Waddle. So now you have Waddle, you have Sutton, Bryant might be a stud, this other receiver they have. You look at the running back room with J.K. Dobbins, it's like, okay, even if he goes down, we have R.J. Harvey. We have this kid named Coleman who could step up and be a running back. So, Sean Payton's really put his fingerprint on this team, and they keep building it out that way where they have the defense. They really didn't attack the defense that much in the offseason. The Waddle part is such a huge upgrade we're not talking enough about, where it's like, okay, if you're believing in Bo Nix taking the next step, you went out there and got him a number 1 receiver. That's what Waddle is. Waddle is tons of talent.
But what's interesting about Waddle is he's a number 1 receiver who's a really good, for lack of a better term, possession receiver, right? He can be complementary to what Sutton can do. And a lot of times that's what Bo Nix was missing last year, like someone who he can be comfortable with when he doesn't have to unleash it and can throw those shorter routes. So great pickup. Great pickup.
And just another way of pick your poison. Like if you take him away, Sean Payton will have a chess piece, another move against to counter that.
Yep.
And then when you slide that protection over to Sutton again, he'll burn you with Waddle. You just can't deny Waddle's speed. And that's why I'm so excited to see in this offense where it's like, okay, we saw what Waddle did in Miami and with, Tyreek Hill and, it was really impressive. But the big thing that haunted him was he was just inconsistent game to game with either soft tissue issues, like where he was like, okay, I got a bad hamstring, and then he leaves in the middle of the second quarter, plays a bunch of games, but he just kept leaving in the middle of games. That's always going to be a question with Waddle. So that would be definitely a hesitation with him. But looking at this team overall, it's, do you believe in Bo Nix or not? We had the same conversation last year where it's like, do you believe in Bo? And both of us were like, we see it, but how can you go against Mahomes in this division? We just were never going to pick Denver and put a lot of money into it. And this year, how do you not bet them in division odds? Like just looking at them, this is the best value in this division, right? I don't know if they can duplicate being the 1 seed once again, but should they have the third worst odds in this division behind Mahomes and Herbert? No.
It makes no sense. Well, that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
If you could line up the Chiefs division odds, Chiefs Super Bowl odds, Chargers division odds, Chargers Super Bowl odds, Broncos division odds, Broncos Super Bowl odds. So don't forget, Broncos basically 2-1 to win the division, 20-1 to win the Super Bowl. Chargers plus 185 to win the division, 17-1 to win the Super Bowl. And then Chiefs plus 170 to win the division, 13-1 to win the Super Bowl. If you're drafting those 6 odds, how do you draft them? Because I wonder if you and I would be on the same page about number 1. Because I feel like I have a lean that's different than yours for number 1.
I'm still gonna bet the Chiefs just because that's to me that's good.
Which one? 13-1 Super Bowl.
I bet Mahomes Super Bowl odds just
okay.
Because.
You know what?
Anything I'm going to 10-1 or better on Mahomes, I'm going to take that bet.
Then we're on the same page because if I were drafting, I would take the Chiefs 13-1 first of those 6 numbers.
And it's no disrespect to Bo Nix and this Denver team. It's just we're thinking long term, and if it's Bo Nix versus Mahomes in the AFC Championship game, me, Chad, ain't betting. We ain't betting Bo Nix. We're gonna take
Yeah.
Mahomes there every time. So it's not so much we're against him. It's just it's hard to believe him showing up in that moment outplaying a guy like Mahomes, where we've seen guys like Josh Allen or Lamar falter, and they have much more skill than Bo Nix. So looking at this year, it's just I can't get over the Denver Broncos disrespecting the fact that they're the third team in this division. I really feel like they should be
Yes.
tied with the Chiefs at the top of this division. I get what pros are saying here that they're like, oh, we're built in the regression. No doubt. We're all doing the same thing, but at 9.5 wins at -120, Chad, I mean, come on. I mean, we got to bet their over win total. It's just if Bo Nix is healthy, if this team plays the way we think they should play, it's not a guarantee of 10 wins, but pretty damn close to it. Like Sean Payton is one of the best coaches in this league, and you give them this much talent on this deep of a team, if they can just stay healthy, there's no doubt they'll be in the playoffs and even maybe potentially win this division. So, it felt like, again, every division has an easy bet. This one felt like the easy bet to me. Just take their over win total. You don't have to bet any other ones. You can stay away from Mahomes with injuries if you want. Bo Nix looks fully healthy, good to go. I think it was Albert Breer was in their camp just talking about how you would never know he's had any type of issues with his legs after, what was it, a foot surgery last year. I think it was only an 8-week to 10-week heal process. So he's been doing their offseason programs. He's been good to go. No restrictions on Bo Nix. So I'd be very excited if I was a Denver Broncos fan. And when you have a team that loses in the AFC Championship game because their quarterback was hurt, that is an amazing motivator. The entire offseason heading into the season because they feel like they were wronged, they were unlucky. I would be very excited if I was a Denver Bronco fan. This just feels like a great team that's not being talked about, that has all the motivation in the world that a lot of these teams have as well. But they weren't there. They didn't taste it. They weren't that close and feel like something was taken away from them. So, yeah, this is everything I've read, a highly, highly motivated team this year.
Way too much regression on this Broncos team. Way too much hype on the Chargers. Way too much regression on the Broncos. I have one bone to pick with the media community. You talked about Albert Breer doing it. Our guy Ben Solak did it. Colin Cowherd did it. All these guys who go to training camps and come out saying about players that he lost 15 pounds, he looks amazing, he's streaking across the field, or he doesn't look like he even had a torn Achilles, or his foot looks fine. None of us are doctors. None of us can watch and really understand anything that's going on in a practice field in training camp with 20 minutes of observation. I feel like I get all these alerts from ESPN about, from beat reporters that are hyping up their team, and none of it matters. None of it fucking matters until the season starts. It's all irrelevant.
It doesn't, but at the same time, I'm not going to say the quarterback who was at Chicago. I think people know who I'm talking about. I'll never forget a guy who I worked with who said he went to a practice and he'll never forget he's talking to this quarterback and he could just smell the booze coming out of his skin and that hot sun. And just how those are I think back to those days where you would never have that nowadays. You don't go to practice and a quarterback smells like Sunday morning, how things have just changed where back in the day, I think it is funny thinking back to these guys wouldn't work out in the offseason. They would get in shape in camp. Now these guys never get out of shape. They are working.
Yeah.
The season ends. It's just so different now. So I'm with you where it's like everyone's in the best shape of their life. No one takes a day off. It's just the league has changed than it was 20 years ago where guys could come smell like Sunday morning. Now these guys are all professionals. They wear their wristbands. They know their sleep schedule, what they've ate, what they've they drank the day before. It's all down to a science now. So I'm with you. You don't gain much going to these practices like you used to.
Simon, the news is when someone looks shitty, not when someone looks great. That's my point. Anyone looks great. Las Vegas Raiders. Terrible season with Pete Carroll. Terrible season with Geno Smith. Missed the playoffs for the 21st time in 23 seasons. I can run through the odds. There's no value in any of them. 20-1 to win the division, 75-1 to win the conference, 150-1 to win the Super Bowl. They added Clint Kubiak as their new head coach, his first season. They added Mike McCoy, They added a new defensive coordinator. Kirk Cousins probably going to start. It's really about when is Fernando Mendoza going to play. The one thing I would say here, and what I'm hearing people talk about, and this could just be, training camp, euphoria, optimism. Everybody wants to root for something, right? The over 5.5. People seeing Brock Bowers, people seeing Kirk Cousins, one more year removed from an injury, people seeing Ashton Genty, people seeing that offensive line being healthier than it was last year. Should anybody be thinking about the over 5.5?
No, if you want to bet they're over 5.5, just bet them week one. Bet their money line week one. I think they play Miami week one. Make that bet, because if they don't win that game, they ain't no way they're getting to 6 wins. So to me, that would be the game I'd take. But I honestly wouldn't do it, because I actually love Miami week one. I think they're a 3.5-point dog against this Vegas team. But yeah, I'd be excited if I was a Vegas team. But it's the same thing where it's like, you guys are 2-3 years away. You're a horrible, horrible ran organization. Everything you guys do, it always ends up wrong. Can Fernando Mendoza change all that? That's the hope. We love this kid. We think he has a credible amount of talent. He's got the personality that's perfect for Vegas. I think it was yesterday I saw something about it was Max Crosby, how he begged his owner, or maybe he's begged his GM to take Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter would be dead if he got drafted by the Las Vegas Raiders. That never would have worked. They're like the exact opposite of organization to drafting Jalen Carter. Yeah, let's put Jalen Carter in Sin City with Max Crosby as his mentor. That would have been a disaster. So they're in a really unique situation where it's like they have to find the right personalities to be able to thrive in that city. Because Chad knows, like, if you don't know what you're stepping into, Vegas can literally swallow you up. Like, it's got every bad temptation you can possibly have in life. They got it times 1,000. Beautiful women, parties, temptations, all these things that, during a season you don't want your players dealing with. It's all there. So the fact that they got Fernando Mendoza and Kirk Cousins, two guys that, like,
I love it. It's so
the last
good.
thing you think of is them at the club at 1 a.m. on a Sunday after a loss, right? These are two guys that they'll be in the building after a loss. They'll be either hitting lifts or watching film. Like, these are the two exact quarterbacks Brady's dreamt of leading this team. So the pillars are there, the building blocks are there, but win total wise, I'm happy to take that under. Just in this division, in the AFC conference, like, they don't really have easy games. Like, people think Miami's an easy game. It's a thing always talking about. You're the easy game to Miami. Well, Miami fans are going through their schedule. They have this as a win for them, just like Vegas think they're going to roll this Miami team. So it's like, we talk all the time, two bad teams. You really don't know what you're going to get. I usually trust the veteran quarterback there. So, Kirk, they say in all the right things that Kirk's going to be their starter. I have a hard time thinking if Fernando Mendoza comes out and he's just great in camp, you play him. We have the data. Like, number one picks don't sit. They just do not sit. Even going back to the 90s, right? That's when things started really changing. That before then, if you were a number one pick, it didn't matter. They were going to sit you. I mean, I think Troy Aikman played for the Cowboys and went like 1-15 to start his career. That was the outlier. They just do not really, they used to do not play number one picks. Now they're just like, okay, we're 1-7. Let's put the kid in. At some point, you're just going to put him in. So I'm really excited to see what they do with Mendoza. Everything I've read, him and Kubiak are in sync, totally locked in. Basically their whole offense is schemed around Brock Bowers, which it should be. Like, that guy, probably the best tight end in football already. Tons of talent. I love it. Like, Kubiak, scheme your whole offense around the kid. And, Genty, he could be a great complementary piece. I know they get Lindenbaum. I know they went out and got a center. So, that's a big deal. Like, that you have the highest paid center in football now. You have a young quarterback. You have a young running back, a really great young tight end. The pieces are all there. I think we all agree. Like, what Gruden did, like, that defense draft wise, you just go through all their drafts. They have nothing defensively. Their defense is so bad. I know they try to address some of it for agency, but just in this division, you look at, they're so far behind these other three teams. And I just can't find a reason to tell people to bet this team. I mean, 75-1 to win the conference, that's just such a waste of money. There's just no world. Those odds are still too short to me with what this team's built up to be. So, it's not a fun pick. It's a boring pick, but I am going to be on their under. I have this team at 4 wins. So, a game and a half is pretty big discrepancy, so I will be betting it. But I get what the books are doing here. They're kind of hedging it here, where if it is Kirk, you could get them to 6 wins. Like, Kirk's a good veteran quarterback that at the end of games, they're going to be close games. Like, they're not a horrible team that's going to be getting blown out. Can Kirk steal a couple wins here and there? Yeah. I'm just really betting on Fernando Mendoza becoming their starter. That's really what this bet is. And once he does come in there in November, December, when all these teams are at peak performance, him getting 1 or 2 wins would be a pretty big stretch to me for Fernando Mendoza. So I feel pretty comfortable taking this under right now.
All right. So for the AFC West, I think we're in agreement. We really like the Chiefs 13-1, that value for them to win the Super Bowl. I think we're also in agreement that we think the Broncos are way undervalued. Take the over 9.5. We think the Chiefs are way overvalued. Probably a pass on their win total, but also a pass just on the value of their Super Bowl odds at 17-1. Simon, that's our show. We're going to come. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you don't like those odds we're giving out, I always say if you want to go way longer, Chiefs to beat the Eagles, 100-1. So you bet $1, you get $100 right now on just the Super Bowl matchup of the Chiefs to beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl. That one, if you want to go really chalk, I think it's 60-1 still. Chiefs to beat the Rams in the Super Bowl, which, and we already talked about, there's no value betting the Rams straight up, but if you want to throw them in a couple of these bets, right? Rams versus Chiefs, there's some value there. So yeah, 60-1 if you want to do that, Chiefs to beat the Rams in the Super Bowl. But I really like that Eagles bet. I think both them and the Eagles are just the bottom of the value you're going to find on these two teams coming off the years they had before. So if you don't like 13-1, obviously for Mahomes coming off a major knee injury, 100-1 to beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
I love that bet, Simon. It's on my list, and I made it. I like the Rams one too. It's a really good idea. We've talked about that a few times, so be listening. Don't do what I did last year and Tyler Shuck this, where Simon says, "Hey, Tyler Shuck, 201 to win Rookie of the Year," and then the rest of the season you're sweating it because you didn't make the bet. As you see it go down to 2-1. Just take a little taste. All right, we're going to come back with our next NFL division betting preview. It'll be the AFC North. This has been Sharper Square, part of the Volume Podcast Network. Watch or listen on YouTube at Sharper Square. Don't forget, pre-order The Number. I'm super proud of the book. Worked really hard on it. It's really, really fun. I hope people will give it a look. Pre-order at readthenumber.com. Join the invite-only Discord. When you do it, get the free bonus chapter, the exclusive bonus chapter, readthenumber.com. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, download some Spotify, Apple Pods, wherever you get your pods. Rate, review, subscribe. Leave us 5 stars. Say whatever you want. Feedback is a gift. Until next time, love you.
I think of it like all the investment that's been made.
Right.
It's like putting money in the bank. Now it's time to start withdrawing.